Hey now, I guess we're live. So this is the first, YouTube streamer that besides Hobby Hotline, which was very exciting. In case you don't know me, my name is Frank Reinstein. I am Baseball Hall of Fame autographs on YouTube. I collect Baseball Hall of Fame autographs. As you can see behind me, I have a huge collection. I have 290 of the 340 possible Hall of Famers, and I've met every living Hall of Famer thanks mostly to the National Sports Card Convention. When I am not collecting autographs, I am answering your questions regarding taxes in the National. I put out a video last year how basically if you're a dealer, you can go to the National for free. The whole thing's basically a write-off. In addition to that, I also have a contest going on my channel right now to win this very cool, I know it's a little hard to see, Ted Simmons signed and inscribed baseball. I got to meet Ted Simmons earlier this month, and I was able to talk to him about autographs and recorded that and put that on my channel. So it's real simple. If you go to my channel, you see Talking Autographs with Ted Williams. Just give me a subscribe, a like, and that's really about it. And you can have a chance to win that awesome baseball. Hope you enter by July 4th. So I'm here today not to talk about cards. I know most of the people today will be talking about cards, but no, I didn't say anything interesting yet, Carol. So I'm not talking about cards today. We're going to focus on getting autographs at the National. I've been going to the National since 1993. This is going to be my 21st National. So if you have any questions regarding the autograph side of it, by all means, please put a comment into that, and we are going to try and address those all. So that's about it. So what I want to do today is, number one, talk about getting autographs in person in the National, why it's good, why it's not good. Then after that, I want to talk about getting your autographs encapsulated at the National. And then finally, I want to bring a good friend of mine, Bill, the Hall of Fame collector, on. And we're going to talk about actually searching for vintage autographs at the National. And again, not the autographs they cut and put onto cards. Hate those. That's 70 show. Thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate that. So speaking of that, I hope a lot of you are here. So as you know, Bill and Ty are doing an incredible thing. They're trying to raise money for Signatures for Soldiers. So what I want to offer up is this before we get started. I have this beautifully signed Ted Simmons. I'm sorry, Mike and Ty. Sorry. I have this, beautiful signed Ted Simmons Hall of Fame inscribed postcard that I got signed myself right in front of me when I met Ted. If someone is willing to donate $100 to Signature for Soldiers via the super chat, I will mail this to you right away. If you go on eBay right now while you're looking this up, you won't find one any cheaper on eBay, let alone inscribed. Ted's going to be at the National. He's going to charge you $135 to sign the same thing. So if you really want to get this signed for $100 right now, I'll mail it to you. Hit that super chat.
So, am I eligible for that, Frank?
Anyone can do it. It's up to you, Mike.
Okay. I love that item. I think it's fantastic. So
yeah, so I actually have two of them. So if anyone else additionally wants to do that, I can make two available.
Great cause. You may see my super chat here in just a second.
That's awesome. Thank you very much, Mike. That's very nice of you. So let's talk about getting autographs at the National Sports Card Convention. Because, Mike, if you don't mind hitting the thing now, I'm going to start sharing my screen here. So this is the lineup for the autograph. And again, TriStar has been sponsoring the autograph dealership since 1997. They do a really good job. They got this thing down to a science. They really do. Unfortunately, in my opinion, with the autograph show being at the Atlantic City, I think the guests are really lacking this year. I think if I were just a general collector, I think Odell Beckham, who has done shows in the past, this is his first national, as you can see. This is probably the biggest name there, in my opinion, of current superstars. I am not planning on getting any autographs this year at the National, but if you are, a couple things to take note here. And again, I'm just scrolling down. All this information can be found on the TriStar TriStar webpage here. So if you see this screen here, you can go, and this is where you order the autographs. Now, as you can see here, it's fairly It's expensive. I'm not gonna lie. If you look at this is a complicated screen. So if you look at Tony Oliva, for example, excuse me, let's pull him up here. You want a new Hall of Famer, deserving Hall of Famer. We won't get into that. Tony Oliva. You're going to drop $95 if you buy it in advance. This is a little sneaky thing they do. I learned the hard way. If you go the day of the show, they're going to charge you an additional $5. But here they're going to charge you a service fee. So it's a lose-lose situation. They're going to win. And the crazy thing is you're going to pay a premium to get an autograph at the National. I mean, what do you mean you're going to pay a premium? Look at this. Tony Oliva is doing a show like the next weekend, and it's going to be $10 cheaper. So, and again, I don't know why they do that. I do know why they do that. You're paying a premium to have all these great people at the National Sports Card Convention. So, is it worth it to me? Yeah. I mean, I don't know, Mike, if you can just shift me back to me for a second here. I go back to me here. So, like, this is a baseball right here. Sorry, this is the Ted Simmons ball. Back in 1993, I grew up okay, but I didn't have a lot of money. So I would just buy one baseball, and I get them all to sign a baseball. I know I look back now, I should have had them all single signed here, but I didn't. So if you look here, I have like Lou Brock, Warren Spahn, Raleigh Fingers, Eddie Matthews, Tom Seaver. Yeah, so I just went back here and first Ted Simmons to me. Thank you very much. That's a very nice donation. Again, I have one more of those Ted Simmons as well. So I guess it's worth it to get all those people in one spot. If there's a lot of people there you're hoping to meet and you don't want to travel around the country, this is a great opportunity to get those in person. That being said, there was a question earlier about mail order autographs. If it were me personally, I would not do mail order to the show because they're going to charge more money than any other show. Again, like I said before, yeah, as that 70 shows just said, you got a captive audience there. And exactly. So people are going to want to spend money. They're going to want to meet people. So, I mean, when I go there, I bring items. Usually I bring a camera because I want to meet the celebrities. And believe it or not, they're actually really good about taking pictures with you, even at the table. They have photo ops, which are a little bit separate. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later regarding the fact that you'll see what it takes versus a photo at a table versus a photo with the dealer, with the TriStar in the background. So my strategy is this whenever I go get autographs at a show. And Mike, if you don't mind switching back to this view where I can see everybody here. Yeah, Mike's the magic man behind the camera here. Mike, do you mind switching back? Mike probably went off to get eat something. So what I do is someone here mentioned the fact that it is the VIP signatures they have every year. And those are basically free signatures for people to buy the VIP entry. And the VIP entry, in my opinion, is not for the autographs. People do the VIP to get in a half hour early to get to it's not really promos anymore, but they have the chasing and the box, the wrappers. Looking for Gene Simmons if you have one. I guess no. Although Gene Simmons did do the National in 2003, the first year it's in Atlantic City, oddly enough. But so people really don't want the autographs. So I have never paid for a VIP autograph. And the reason why I say that is as you get to the show by the autograph areas, people will leave entire sheets I see down there. And people will pick up or they'll give it to you for $1. I'm telling you, if you ask them even, you could have them for free, you would be surprised. Last year, I got a Joe DeLaMoliere and a Calvin Murphy, both Hall of Famers, and I got their autographs for free because people just gave me their free tickets. They don't want to wait in line. The lines for the VIP autographs are very long. So that's why I have a strategy. So if you go back to the TriStar autograph page, you can see what time those people are supposed to be there. And if you order autographs in advance, everything is numbered, and they have like a gate system where they let people in. And so they'll call out numbers 1 through 10. And 1 through 10, it can take an hour to go through. I know that sounds crazy. You think, oh, there's only 10 people for waiting for get autographs. No, there's VIP 1 through 10. There's ball 1 through 10. There's bat 1 through 10. It takes a long time to get through that initial push. But once you get to that initial push, the signers go by pretty quickly. So what I see right here, Mike just noted the fact that he donated his VIP autograph sheets to Signatures for Soldiers. So yeah, they have a great booth usually right by the autograph pavilion, and they'll sell them or donate them, or they'll give you something even just for a donation. So it's a nice way to get an autograph and still help someone at the same time, which I really enjoy doing. But again, going back to strategy, I try to get my autographs there later in the day or later when the number is called, because the fact that I hate waiting in lines. And so you can peek over, you can see that the line's starting to dwindle down. I'd rather go in later. And then the other thing I try to do is I try to time when I get an autograph at the end of somebody else with the beginning of somebody else. So for example, let's say you want to go for David Ortiz and Tony Oliva. Sorry, I'm reading the comments. So let's say you want to go for David Ortiz and Tony Oliva, and David Ortiz is signing from 1 to 3, and Tony Oliva is signing 3 to 5. I would go towards the end of David Ortiz, and then I would, once I get his autograph, I would sneak back into that holding area where people are waiting in line, and I would go immediately into the other person's line. Because once you're in that line, they're not checking numbers. They're only checking numbers. I wish you had told me this last year. Sorry. They're only checking numbers when you initially walk into the whole autograph area. Like once you're in, you're in. And once I'm in that area, I hate to leave because they are very strict for good reason. They don't want the autograph area to get overcrowded, especially last year with COVID going on. So that is my, again, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, that's my strategy for getting in-person autographs. And again, if you're looking to get an autograph for 1 or 2 people and to save money, I would look for maybe another show they're doing or another mail-in or another private signing, because it's almost 95% cheaper. And again, time is money at the National. I mean, the National is huge. You don't want to be sitting there waiting in line after line if you can avoid it. I remember one year, I think it was 2008, Manny Ramirez did the National, and the line was forever. And so I knew someone, Scott Smith, SI King. He was the fact that he was taking everything in the back. I literally just paid him to take my ball and went in the back. And I got lucky. I don't know if people were there for the Manny signing. I guess he got up and left early with people still waiting in line. So I was able to get my line back. Sorry, my ball back signed. So I'm all for paying money to avoid aggravation if I can. That being said, I like meeting the player if possible. I'm looking at Ron's comment right now. He's saying, I don't know if you could see that or not. My experience as a younger player, I don't like to wait to the end because their signature gets rushed or sloppy after a few hundred. Yeah, that's true, Ron. And that's what I was saying about Odell Beckham. My response to that is the younger players usually have crappy signatures to begin with. So, yeah, they get tired. But, I mean, I remember 4 years ago, whatever, Marcel Dion was the VIP autograph, and I was one of the last ones to get it. And his autograph was just as beautiful at the end as it was at the beginning. Yeah, unfortunately, with the list, there are not too many young active players. They even highlight the footballs first this year for the players because they have some, like Odell Beckham and a couple other active players. I remember at past Nationals, like Pujols did the show, A-Rod did the show. To me, the list doesn't blow me away at all. Like I said, I'm going to be there on Wednesday night and Thursday. I don't plan on getting any in-person autographs at all as it stands right now. 300 for a regular Ortiz. Yeah, again, I see Steven Sports Cards about 300 for regular Ortiz. You're paying for the experience of meeting Big Papi. You know what I'm saying? And that is worth something. If you don't want to meet him, go ahead and get it signed through Fanatic. I think he's a Fanatics exclusive. But things I would bring there, if you have a project that you're working on and you don't want to ship it through the mail, I would say that's something I would bring with me to the National. Like if my plane goes down, I want this going down with me. It's going with me into the National. So I'd bring that with me. A couple other things to notice is the fact that Fanatics, I don't know if you know this now, but like even Fanatics players that are doing public signings, they are not signing tickets. So one thing, for example, is if you want Odell to sign his debut ticket and you have it, that's something I would consider taking to the National or getting signed right now. Another is some of the players now, let's be honest, are not getting any younger. There are some like older players, like hasn't been good for like 5 years. He just won a Super Bowl turd. So
Hey, Bill's itching to get on. So
Bill's itching to get on. Let's get Bill on. Sure.
Okay.
There he is.
Hey, y'all. Bill, the Hall of Fame collector here.
Yes, we get to see your face this time. Bill, is there something you wanted to add?
No, I didn't want to add, actually. Mike just wanted to throw me on, but you keep going and just go.
Okay, that's fine. So again, that's the stuff you want to look at is you want to get the people like, listen, you may never see these again. There may be a rare signing going on there. I can't speak for the non-baseball players. So if there's a football player, I don't know. I see Floyd Merriweather is going to be there and Chuck Liddell. I mean, they may not do that many signings. Maybe you want to meet them. Go for it. Get the autograph. Yeah, you're going to pay a little bit of a premium, but I would do it. I mean, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get all these players. I should say once a year, not once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So real quickly here, I want to talk one more thing, if you could share the screen, Mike, about getting photos at the National. So this is me and Bill with Hulk Hogan a couple years ago at the National. So this is what you're going to pay for if you pay for the photo opportunities. And it's a nice, look at this. This is a great photo, Bill and I had Hulk Hogan sign this photo last year at the National. But even if you don't want to pay, this is me and Fred McGriff that same year. You can do a lean in. I would just ask, and this is why I like to wait towards the end of a signing. Usually the line's not as long. People aren't as rushed and everything. Another cool thing last year was I was at the hotel, and I'm sure all the players this year are staying at the Sheraton next door. And you never know who's going to wander through the lobby. This is Curly Culp. I had the pleasure of meeting him at breakfast. We were both up early. I had this photo taken of me and Curly, and I had him sign that day at the National. Unfortunately, he passed away very quickly right after the National. And last but not least, when it goes to you'll never know who you're going to meet at the National, I was there, and none other than Jeopardy James Holzhauser was brought in. So just be on the lookout on the floor for celebrities. You may want to have a spare baseball in your back pocket just in case. They're usually pretty good about signing. As long as you don't see a celebrity on the floor that's going to be on the autographs floor anyway signing, then you might as well forget it. So that's about it for that. So if you want to bring back the big screen, I just want to talk real quickly one more thing, and that's about getting autographs authenticated at the National. So I'm sure Mike will talk more when he comes on, but I know everyone is there to get their cards encapsulated at the National, especially by PSA. So when you get there, I remember last year by Thursday, they were sold out of slots for getting cards slabbed at the National. You could give them to them and they would bring it back to you. So, but there's a separate line for autographs. So don't get in that long line for cards. Get in line for autographs. So I'm going to make Bill a little bit jealous. I don't know if the light is right here, but I got this on Thursday. He's not happy with me, but Bill won the National.
Why did Mike throw me on right now?
What's that?
Is this why Mike put me on?
Oh, I don't know. So I got Joe Kelly. He's a rare Hall of Famer. I would say 90% of you who are watching this probably don't know who he is, but I got a steal on this, and I brought it in, and I got it encapsulated, and it still took 2 days to get back. But unlike the sellouts of the cards, the autographs are not as popular with PSA to get slabbed and authenticated. You still have to pay a rush fee, of course. So that's all the questions, all comments I have. Bill, I don't know if anything about getting in-person autographs that you want to add.
Not really. I mean, I had never at the National per se received any in-person things. I'm more of the Comic-Con on that Comic-Con side, so I share some of the same experiences just on that end. Crazy Back to the Future nuts. So I've met all the cast from the movie and for a while just meeting a bunch of different actors. So it's essentially the same thing. If you have projects that you're working on, big pieces and things like that, you're probably better off bringing it in person. And you can get them authenticated at the shows typically. I don't know what the going rate is at the National to get something stickered out there. But I know like some of these Comic-Cons, like JSA will be there and they'll just sticker anything you get signed for $10.
Yeah, usually, if I recall, if you want to TriStar to sticker it, who's sponsoring, as soon as you get out of line, you got to go in that back exit line. You can't come back out and do my little trick. Right. And I think they charge $20, but I know JSA is $10. This was last year for the same type of verification, which is I'm not a big fan of because honestly, none of them are right next to the player when it gets signed. So I mean, it's still going to say an in person. I think JSA. but it's not really in person.
Right.
Now I see that 70s Card Show wrote, will JSA be set up and is it cheaper than a regular sub to them? Usually all three will be there. The big three, PSA, JSA, and Beckett. Usually they charge the same price that they charge on their website, and they're pretty much all step in toe with each other. So if you go on their website before the show, you can get an idea what they're going to charge. That being said, JSA still doesn't actually have slabs. Beckett does, but they only have certain sizes. So that's why I went to PSA. And again, this is not a knock against Steve Grad. I know Steve Grad really well, but for some reason, I just wanted mine in a PSA slab.
Right.
So.
And if you're getting things, bring your own sleeves and top loaders and things like that. If you're going to just be picking 8x10s from the table that they have, I mean, because they charge an arm and a leg for these plastic sleeves.
Yeah, and photos as well. You know what I'm saying? If they know they got a black market there, and so I think TriStar, right next to the Autograph Pavilion, will sell their own photos and helmets and baseballs and stuff like that. And the selection isn't even that great. So to be honest, if you know you're going to bring something and get something signed at the National, you're better off bringing it yourself to Atlantic City. So,
right.
No more questions. I want to make sure I address everyone's questions. We're going to get to signed card dealers in a second, Timothy. I just want to make sure we talk about the slabbing, the getting stuff in person, little tricks in the trade. One other thing I learned, they're not going to tell you this. If you want to buy an autograph there for cheap, this is a little secret right here. Ask to borrow someone's dealer pass. The dealers get like 20% off the autographs. So the last day I bought an autograph, someone told me this little secret. And so I had a friend there that was a dealer. And I said, can I borrow your pass for a second? No problem. I went up to the TriStar. No one said anything. And I got where has this secret been all my life? So that's a little secret that I'm happy to share. So are there vintage signed card dealers there? Let's talk about vintage autographs at the National itself. Bill, what is your strategy when you walk into that room day one at the National looking for autographs?
Specifically autographs? I mean,
yes.
The rush is running in that main gate. I'm not going to spend very much time at a single table in the crowds, 2-3 feet, people deep. I'm going to just breeze through and just run front to back. Actually, sometimes I actually prefer to just run to the back and work my way back to forward, but I'm generally breezing through and just trying to find something like a diamond in the rough, the quick grab, something that I know is going to hit, something that I generally don't have anything that I'm specifically looking for per se. Some people do, but if that thing is there and it's very rare or pop one or whatever it is, you jump. And that's when you can get it. But a lot of times I'm just trying to catch my bearing and see kind of where these tables are. And I can always come back. And Frank, you bring a map?
I bring a map. So real quickly, if you go on the NSCC website, Bill, if you can sorry, Mike. Thank you, Mike. So if you go on the NSC website, you go to dealer information, you go to floor plan. This is the floor plan for the National. I literally have a printout of this. I blow it up. I print it out. And if you go back here as well, you go back to the dealer information, you can go to a dealer list, and this will tell you what dealers will be there and where they're going to be. So it's going back to so I print that out every year. I bring a backpack with me. And again, I don't want to, this is probably a strategy for anyone going to the National. I bring a backpack with me. I bring that list with me, and I have it right here. This is my little, where I can take notes on what I saw, where I saw it, how much they want it. Now, very rarely do I buy something at first glance the instant I see it, because the stuff I'm looking for is very rare. There's usually not that many people in the room. And unfortunately, especially this year, a lot of the dealers I know that deal with vintage signed cards or vintage signed autographs that I look for are not going to be there. But that doesn't mean you're not going to find a diamond in the rough. Real quickly, that 70s card show. Yes, when you bring something to the front to get signed in person, they have a variety of pens. That being said, have it tested out. I got Felix Hernandez last year at the National. He signed it with a dead pen. I didn't see it till I was out of line, and it looks horrible. But yeah, so you can bring your own pen, or you can ask them to use a pen. And they're pretty good about asking, what do you want this signed with? So, pro level tips here. Thank you, Victor, very much.
Right.
So
I know
again, going back to searching for the vintage autographs, the vintage signed cards. Go ahead, Bill.
No, I said I know that there are certain specific pens that the communities choose to pick, in lieu of other pens. Like ballpoint pen is, I think, preferred over other types of pens. But that's something, one can Google and decide on whatever medium they choose to sign. Whether it's a Sharpie or a Deco paint pen or things like that. There are certain pens and things that are better than others, and you can Google that, and again, they'll have choices there, and you can also bring your own.
Yeah. Just a quick reminder as we're going through this and talking about this, we're trying to raise money for Signatures for Soldiers. I had this beautiful Ted Simmons signed postcard inscribed. This will cost you $135 to get signed at the National. It's yours today for a donation for $100. If you want to do the super chat, I'll mail it out to you, tracking and everything, my charge. So again, we're just trying to raise money here for a great cause. So going back to like prior Nationals, when you go in the door, I don't know how many of you are aware of this, but it's based on a seniority system where everyone sets up. So you're going to see a lot of the older dealers where you're going to see a lot of vintage stuff right in front. Usually that and the auction houses are right in the door. So I like to go to the auction. Since there's not as many vintage autograph dealers, I like to go to the auction houses and see what they have. Sometimes they sell stuff for absorbent amount of money is right then and there. A real quick funny story. I'll do a little bit of show and tell. A couple of years ago, Memory Lane was there, and they had a great collection. And they had something called the Northwestern Find, and they were going to auction off some rare autographs, including one right here, Tim Keefe. And there was only one known autograph at the time. So as soon as I saw that, I knew I had to start saving money at the National. So that's one thing, though. I like going to the autograph dealers and seeing what they're going to have coming up. So I know how much money to allocate, whether I should be spending money at the show versus saving up here. So,
but although it's been kind of reduced over the number of years, I think the National might be your best bet just because of just the pure quantity of tables. And again, that seniority system where 20, 30 years ago, there were more vintage dealers. And, you have a show like the Dallas Card Show where it's almost, I would say I haven't been there, but it's very modern. And so that seniority thing doesn't kind of happen there. But at the National, you will find the old guys with the good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, again, and this is something Bill and I wanted to talk about, and it's very important. Just because you see it there doesn't mean it's going to be a great deal. There is a saying, if you don't see it at the National, it doesn't exist. That's true, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to want you to sell it for cheap. They're there to make money. When I don't know about you, Bill, but when I get my autographs, if I can, I like to buy them in person. Before I buy, I like to hold it. I like to smell it, look at it, look at the light and everything. So, I mean, I pay a little bit of a premium for that, and I'm actually okay with that.
Yeah, no, I mean, there is something to seeing something in person. I know the card world sometimes shares that same sentiment, especially with raw stuff. But even with autographs, I mean, if you're worried that something isn't real, I mean, there are fake slabs out there too, right? So you can hold it, you can look in, you can put a light behind it and see if it's live ink, and the weight of the paper, like Frank's saying, the smell of the paper. It's great. It's just absolutely great. I mean, I just like going to the auction houses. I mean, just seeing, because we're hounds on the auction houses. We're checking everything that's coming out. We actually get to see some of the stuff that we saw online coming up, and you can look at it, you can hold it. And I have a few show and tells that we can go over later about that. But it's just great to see some of these things. If not the interest of buying something, oh, look at that.
When I buy my Hall of Fame autographs, I buy them from Bill, the Hall of Fame collector at a Yankees game. So that's right. Where I bought this Honus Wagner from.
Right. That might have been the only Honus Wagner transaction ever at Yankee Stadium.
It might have been.
The new Yankee Stadium.
The new Yankee Stadium, correct.
Real quickly, what day is the busiest for signings? By far Saturday. It's not even close. That's by far the busiest day at the National. I could say last year, for sure, the busiest signer, most crowded, was Barry Sanders, which living in Detroit was shocking to me because he signs here probably every few months, and it's not that busy. But Chicago, only a few hours away, by far had the longest line. The year before that, Hogan was there, and he hadn't done a show in a really long time. And so that had a really long day. But our best value day, your best value day, honest to goodness, if you want something signed, depends who you want. I mean, that's a tough question to answer because I value something differently than somebody else. If there's somebody there on Saturday and I really want it, I'm going to go there. But like I said earlier, I'm going to keep peeking at the line. It's get smaller and smaller. And I'm going to wait to the very end.
Right. Not every athlete is there every day. So
yeah,
certain athletes are there only Saturday. So, some are there 3 days. And so you kind of have to pick and choose who you really want. And that may determine what day you're going to be there. So I wouldn't want somebody to schedule a flight to be there Wednesday and Thursday, but you really wanted that guy and he's only available Saturday. So you have to keep that in mind.
Yeah. So to answer your question, seniority, yes. So usually towards the front, you'll see some really old, rare vintage stuff. And some of the guys there have been there since day one of the National. I know there's a couple original year one National people up there. One of them is a guy that I like to go to. His name is like Tick and Tack. I actually bought, and Bill has one also, a Harry Wright signed scorecard. He had a few of them, and he had some really rare vintage autograph. We're talking pre-1900 everything in his booth. So, but again, there's some guys in the back, and we'll talk about this. I found an amazing autograph last year in the very front, which was a brand new section, mostly where all the breakers are. So we'll do show and tell. Bill and I will go into that more. So, Bill, I always joke that you won the National last year. You had some great pickups, like diamonds in the rough. How did you find those? How did I miss them?
Well, first off, I would argue the same about you, because I don't know how on earth you found your item where you found it, because I didn't even know that area existed. So, I mean, that just speaks to the gravity.
Let's do a little show and tell. You can go first. Can you show the 3 items you got last year?
I got more than 3 items.
Okay.
Come on now.
Sorry.
I won it, remember? So the first one, actually, I'll show the one where we're talking about. I run in, right? I'm going through, speeding through, trying to figure out, where's my bearing, where's the tables that I'm going to like, this and that, trying to find a diamond in the rough. This is a player I've been searching for years. I've had eBay saved searches. To me, he's a future Hall of Famer at the time. I wasn't quite sure. And passed it, saw the price. It was a decent price, especially because it's a government postcard, so it's dated. It's not just a regular index card, and it was slabbed up and everything else. But I had just kept going. I was like, okay, the price is okay. I really don't think it may or may not sell, whatever. But then a day later, I'm realizing myself, I really, really want that item. You don't see government postcards pop up that often. And I kind of remember when I passed it, okay, this is where I am, aisle, whatever. I think I'm good. I can find it. Kid you not, couldn't find it. I walked around aisles. I think I even texted you, Frank, like, did you see the Gil Hodges somewhere? Did you see the Gil Hodges somewhere? You're like, what are you talking about? I don't know, maybe, and again, it took me 3 hours and I found it and it was still there. And I talked the guy down about 10%, 15%. So I got a great deal on it. And then sure enough, what was it? The next year or that year?
That year.
Hall of Fame.
3 months later.
And that is this Gil Hodges government postcard. Beautiful, beautiful ink. Right? I love it. The tape doesn't take away anything for me. It's not over the signature. And then, of course, again, being a government postcard, it is dated. Florida, 1965, March 24th. And what I love about these things too is, I can look up, especially if this is during their playing days, I can see like this is March, so they're my guess is this is like spring training or something if he's playing at this era or whatever. It's just great to see that. I've government postcards where they hit 3 home runs that day, and things like that. So I just love things dated, and I think Frank, you caught that bug too.
Yes, I did. Thank you.
But that was a great pick, and I really thought for a moment that it was gone. I passed up on it, and that was it. But I'm so happy to find it. And if I had a map and I marked X marks a spot or whatever, I probably would have found it quicker.
Before you go back to me, Bill's got to show his one other thing he got last year from a future soon-to-be Hall of Famer.
All right, I know where you're going with that one. So another one that I just just breezing through. And this actually wasn't, I don't believe this was at a table with a bunch of autographs. It was just kind of in a tucked in a corner with just a couple index cards, couple random odds and ends. And I knew immediately what it was. And I picked it up, and I think it was maybe $40. And then I talked him down to 35 or $30. So, I mean, this is pretty cool too. And it was another guy that I thought had a great shot at the Hall of Fame. I don't know if this is working, but
good. I can see
this is there you go. Mini Minoso. So this is a nice, awesome. It's all in Spanish. It's some kind of card from I think it's some kind of like fan club card or something like that, dated the 10th of December 1959. But it's awesome because this is an early signature, and he signs it Orestes, which is his his real name. So I saw this, I said I had to have this. This is awesome. And then Frank, I think was this the one that tipped you over to me being the winner here?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that was freaking awesome. So I was really thrilled to get that. I couldn't pull my wallet out quick enough. And I mean, for all kidding aside, I mean, Orestes Minoso, like if you look at that briefly, you don't even know. Some people may not even know it's Mini Minoso. It could just be his brother. But I mean, I picked up on that and just ran with it,
Yeah,
so,
and I mean, Bill showed me both. Well, the Minoso alone, when I saw that, like, you won the national in my book. So a couple pickups I've gotten in the past few years. So there used to be the great thing about the national is building relationships, not just with like fellow YouTube community, but even with the dealers. So there was one dealer that had stuff I couldn't believe, and I just really wanted it, but it was way beyond my price range. But we built up a relationship. We bought a few things back and forth over the years. And so 3 years ago, when it was in Chicago, or maybe it was 4 years ago, I lose track because of COVID, he knew there was a piece I wanted. And I said, listen, I can't afford it now. Can I go on a payment plan? So, and he said yes. And so because of that payment plan, I just showed this off on my channel. I got it out of the bank. I want to show it live in person. This is a Frank Chance signed letter. Now, most people won't even know who Frank Chance is besides Tinker to Ever to Chance. But there are probably 5 legitimate autographs. When I say legitimate, non-stolen autographs. And this is the one featured on the PSA autograph database. And if I didn't know the dealer, I didn't build a relationship with the dealer, he never would have given it to me. And I remember buying it, picking it up on that Sunday. And I was there on that Sunday. He knew there was another piece I wanted. And he wanted a lot of money. He wanted like $5,000 for it on Thursday and Friday. But by Sunday, he looks at me. He goes, Frank, you still want this? And I said, yeah. And he goes to me, and this is the full signed, full name Hack Wilson check. And the perforations don't touch the Wilson. So which I love my full names. Because of Bill and the dated stuff. He goes, I'll make you a deal. Give me, I don't want to say the amount I pay, but give me half now and give me half when you get back to Michigan. I don't want to take it back with me. Deal. Done. So that was like really exciting for that.
Unbelievable. Yeah. I know that dealer, and he's an awesome guy. Even just to chat on the side and just learn and use his experiences to further your quest for hunting stuff down.
Yeah. And now getting back to that last question, they go, are all the vintage stuff at front? So last year at the National, they had the big square box, and they had 2 areas off to the side. And how I go search, I don't collect cards anymore. So if I see a dealer that's got chrome and shiny stuff, I run right past. I don't even spend any time looking at it. And I went to the breaker area, which is a brand new dealers. It's a brand new area they just installed. And so they had so much spillover because of the hobby was so popular. They started putting the newest dealers there. So I didn't expect to find anything there. And then sure enough, I saw this piece, and this is a Charles Kidd Nichols signed letter dated to the Sporting News. And there's a few of these letters out there. They're all over the PSA autograph database. And Kidd Nichols by itself is a rare autograph in itself. To find a full name with the inscription dated on a full letter, we negotiated on a price. So, and I paid a little bit more because I wanted the credit card points. I wasn't going to pay him in cash. So there are deals to be had out there. There are unique items out there, but like there's certain things at the National that I see I would never buy. I don't know about you, Bill. Are there items you will not buy at the National autograph wise?
Of course.
Like
plenty.
What?
Probably most of it.
Yeah.
To be honest, I mean, things that you can get any day of the week on any other platform. I mean, things that are listed on eBay. You just want to get a random on-card autograph of Mookie Betts or something like that, or even just so things that you can get on eBay or at any other ordinary show. I mean, you're really looking for things that are special to me to warrant maybe the potential price increase or things like that you'd have to pay at a national. It just makes no sense to me to just buy standard stuff at something like the national, unless you're trying to do a package deal. Like you got the thing that you really want, but then you got a couple other things here. You can kind of put things together and make a better deal altogether. I know Mike, who's probably in the queue. He's a master at doing that.
Yeah. But like to go as far as standard stuff, I remember last year or the 2019 National, one guy had 6 Babe Ruth checks on his table. And I know what Babe Ruth checks, they're expensive. They're fair. They're not that rare, relatively speaking, believe it or not. And I asked him what's the cheapest he would take. And he wanted double what any auction was going for. And I'm like, no. And the same thing with a Honus Wagner check. There was another guy who wanted a much higher premium. And I went to the National that year saying my goal is to get a Honus Wagner check. I was a little impatient. It was one of the last class of 36 players I needed besides Christie. And so I really wanted it. I had the money. And then I gave up. And I said, no, this is too much money. We have to stop. And I walked away. So you got to be prepared to walk away. And that goes with anything, not just autographs, obviously. So I'm trying to see Ron's.
No, that's not a shark. No, it's a loach.
Okay, so the older, harder guys, you think you can get. I'll answer that first, Ron, because Bill and I had different approaches for the modern guys. You can't see behind me. I'm able to afford now any modern guy that is a Hall of Famer or to be Hall of Famer. If I can, that's really tough now, thanks because of Fanatics and everything. I try to get them in person on a baseball. I have flown all across the country to get one autograph. I'm real crazy like that. I remember flying to Kansas City for Albert Pujols when he only did one show a year. So I went to the National last year. I forgot who I got, but Harold Baines I got at the National in person. I know, Bill, you're very different when you collect the Hall of Famers. Bill's got a fascinating collection with that.
Right. So that's a whole other branch of my collection. Just basically this is where I tie into sports cards, if you will. And my mindset is a lot of these sports cards that now have these, certified autographs and things like that. To me, that's generally the cheapest way, more so than meeting somebody at a table. And so I get my modern guys on sports cards. So I generally try to get every Hall of Famer I can that is on an on-card autograph. And so that's basically, and I have sets that I do and things like that as well. And so I'll do a quick show and tell because I got a few more show and tells here. Frank, so this was just 2 or 3 years ago, right? This is a more, I would consider this a modern, right? He hasn't passed away or anything like that. So Robin Yount, Greats of the Game autograph, right? So this was at a table and I knew I needed it. It was still a player I needed and I got a great deal. And it was, I don't know, maybe $50 or something like that, which is probably a little expensive for a generic Robin Yount, but this is for this set. It's a highly collected set. Mike would probably agree. And this is a short print. So I forget how many he printed or they signed, but this is a short print. I knew it and I grabbed it. So this was a great pickup 3-4 years ago. But this is what I do for the sports cards. And I'll actually go and do one more show. Well, I got more show offs, but another one I do sets. I do this Greats of the Game autograph set, and this was another pickup. This is one of those times where, again, the prices are high, but if you're specifically looking for something and you're working on a set and you got a few more, you jump because this is numbered to 25, and it's you never see it. I have had saved searches for 5 years, and this card had never come up. So this is when you jump. So I'm so thrilled to get this. You never know what you're going to see at the National. But this I would not consider like a mundane, ordinary card. You know what I mean? And although if I was just collecting, something like I wanted a Robin Yount autograph card, I wouldn't be doing it unless it specifically checked off something in the collection.
I had a little more show and tell. Again, last year, my other pickup, this is because of Bill. He made me want to upgrade. So I got this Jimmy Fox. And this dealer I bought it from, he's not going to be there this year. It's a good guy named Roger Sentowitz. And we traded. I had a couple extra things. And so he was real nice. And he wanted some stuff I had. I had some stuff he had. And so we were able to trade. What am I looking to pick up? So every year I bring a list with me of stuff I think reasonably I have a shot that some dealers are going to have. I'm not going to bring like a Bud Fowler, looking for a Bud Fowler autograph. It's not going to be found there. So I have like upgrades. I'm still trying to look for like even like a Joe Gordon postcard, for example. And I will hand dealers I think may have it. I'll hand them my list. Do you have any of these? And we'll go from there. Most of the times they'll say no. Once in a while they'll say yes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's. I mean, I have done that with these. I mean, the one guy at that table had 5 or 6 of these duels, and I specifically asked him. I said, "Who else do you have? Who else do you have?" Unfortunately, I had everybody, but I mean, you never know. You never know. It's always worth asking. They're there to sell you, and they very well. Again, they have to keep an inventory going. So there are a lot of tables that may have stuff underneath the table that they're just waiting to take out and put out another day.
Number one items in my collection. I'll tell you real quickly, you're going to laugh. My favorite item, not my most valuable, getting off the national for a second, is my Al Lopez signed baseball. When I needed every living Hall of Famer at the time, Al Lopez would not do his show. He wouldn't leave his house. I wrote him a letter asking him if I could come to his house in Tampa. I did go there. I rang on his doorbell. He was very nice to me. And then I told someone about it at a show. Next thing I know, I found out a year later, he put a sign on his door. I will no longer be signing autographs at my door. And he died a few years after that. So that is my favorite personal item in my collection.
Right. I don't know if I can even answer that question because I have things that are very valuable that they're even like, for me, like I appreciate penmanship and history and things like that. So there are a lot of items that are like really cheap that I just love and value more than the value, if that makes sense. So this just, I mean, it's one of those things like, what would I take to the grave? You know what I mean? Kind of thing. And that would be probably this album page that is signed by Tris Speaker. And it's an old Tris Speaker version. He changed his autograph a little bit in the 50s, but it's dated in his hand, August 12th, 1923. I absolutely love the vintage ink. And so much so, this actually came from the Blattner collection, which is a very high level collection that was actually PSA. Obviously, I was cited them, but on the database, they had one of the best Hall of Fame autograph collections out there. So this came from it. And then this will kind of go into some of my other finds from last year, which kind of made things kind of go over the top, right? So I was, again, walking around at another table, and then they were there. They were just there. I can't explain it. I mean, that was there. I probably could have run over 10 people. I probably could have knocked over a kid. I don't care. I went right over, and they were cheap. They were cheap. I mean, this is from that same album page, John Blattner collection. Look at this. There's beautiful old ink, Ed Roush in his hand, signed September 19, 1923. I mean, unbelievable. And they're graded, which I'm not a grader person, but I mean, sure, it helps. But I mean, $30 or $40 for these. I mean, Frank, you paid 30. Look.
Yeah, I was there when you bought them. I remember. So listen, we got 1 minute left. So I really want to push the signature for soldiers with the super chat. So again, this is the last time I can offer this. Again, you won't find it any cheaper. It won't be on eBay. This is a Ted Simmons signed postcard, $100 donation, signature for soldiers. It's yours. I'll mail it out to you Monday morning. So if not, you can reach out to Mike. Will, I see your question. My email address is on my page. I'm happy. We're pushing against the clock. I just don't have time to answer that. Else, I'd be happy to answer that. So, of course, Bill's going to keep showing off. So
2016 National. But I'll let you go, Frank.
Okay. Listen, Baseball Hall of Fame autographs, Bill, the Hall of Fame autograph collector. Thank you so much. I think Mike's up next. I hope you have a great Saturday and a great Hobby Palooza. Thank you both again, Mike and Ty, for putting us on.
Thanks, Bench Clear.
As
Thanks,
always,
Mike.
keep collecting.
Peace.